Okay, this video is to help you guys prepare for your final. So let's just start with regression and just some of the things um, you need to know for the final, for sure. Um, One thing for sure you're gonna have to know how to do is create dummy variables. So hopefully you remember how to do that. If not, refer to the assignment number 4 and some of the videos I made prior. One of the tricky things to remember is that when you do make dummy variables, to make sure that you're always leaving one of the dummy variables out. Um, Definitely refer to uh, the SPS lecture, and you can read these notes, and it really explains kind of why you need to do that and how to calculate that. Um, let's see, let's actually jump to assignment 4. Okay, yeah, so if you remember in assignment 4, we had to create dummy variables for the occupation um, attribute, and after you did that, you had to calculate a bunch of things using the occupation dummy variables, and you would leave out one of the dummy variables, and whether if it was low, medium, or high, you would have to leave one of those out. And by doing so, you could to calculate your answers. Um, So you need to make sure that you can read a chart like this, um, and be able to calculate the numbers necessary. Um, and the SPS lecture for this regression would be really helpful to review, and also refer to assignment number 4. Would be really helpful. Um, Another thing, remember just all these various parts of this regression output. Um, you're going to have to know for the final. So that's about it for regression. If you need a review, do assignment 4 again. The answers are online. You can download the answer sheet so you can go through the data set to make sure that you're getting the right results. If you can do assignment number 4, you're going to get any question about regression correct, or you should. So another topic, factor analysis. Um, so just referring to these notes, this is a really thing I want to point out when you're deciding how many factors to use when you run a factor analysis. Remember this rule. I don't even know how to say that word. Eigenvalues greater than 1. Really remember that rule. That could help you if you get confused. Another rule to remember. Um, which factors to or not which numbers to include in a factor. If you remember it says right here, rule of thumb, greater than 0.5 or less than negative -0.5 when doing a factor analysis. So when you create new factors, um, you'll only include those. That's another thing you're going to have to remember, and really refer to assignment number 3 if you're confused. Um, but when I'm talking about creating a new factor, I'm talking about when we go up to transform, compute variables, and you were throwing in different attributes and adding them together to create, or subtracting them if they were negative to create a new factor. Um, so just review that. Once again, you do that in assignment number 3. Um, if you remember, actually, let's jump to that real quick. If you remember, in assignment number 3, we had to look at this box and decide, um, which data goes into the factor, and you just follow that rule: plus zero point 0.5, or greater than zero point 0.5, or lower than negative zero point 0.5. Those are the numbers that get plugged into that equation to create a new factor. And then also just you're just gonna have to do scatter plots again. Um, If you don't remember how to do that, it's just graphs, um, legacy dialogues, scatter slash dot. Simple scatter. You just that's good to review. Um, Once again, there's a video online demonstrating assignment number 3 if you have any questions or need to look at further information. Okay, cluster analysis. Just wanted to refer that how to run crosstabs again. I think in assignment number 2, we did a cluster analysis um, using the hierarchical method and also using the k-means method, and then we did a crosstab where we compared those two. Let me jump to assignment number 2. Yeah, so when we did the crosstab, we had this output um, that basically we wanted to see how many load together and how many don't. I believe in the video I actually say something that's incorrect. Um, just a rule of thumb is that if you want to know how many load together, just pick the biggest numbers. So in this example, it would be 50 load together, 2 don't, 48 load together, 0 don't. Um, so that's just the rule of thumb. Always just pick the biggest one. So in here they all load perfectly. That's great. But always just pick the biggest number and say those load together, and all the outliers, all the little numbers, those don't load together. So you just got to know how to read a crosstab. You're also going to have to know how to calculate the centroid to the mean. This is straight from his SPSS lecture on this. You just use compare means. There's also a video for assignment number 2 that really demonstrates this if you need to review anything. And just with these numbers, with these mean numbers, you're going to create snake plots. You just have to remember how to do that. Professor Larson did not do it in SPSS. He did it in Excel, which is a lot easier, but just be able to draw a snake plot is going to be important, so make sure you know how to do that. And then also interpreting kind of what these means do, and how we can, really say what cluster 1 is all about, what cluster 2 is all about, what cluster 3 is all about. Remember that simply looking at the highest number, that's what they prefer. Um, so these, cluster 3, they really like to combine shopping, or they always try to get the best buys, and they try to save a lot of money and compare prices. So these are your cheapo people, or just the price conscious consumer, cluster 3. So you just gotta remember how to be able to read that. Probably the most difficult part is going to be your conjoint analysis section. Luckily, we just did this, so hopefully it's still fresh in your mind. Remember how to do the lin-s function. It's exactly like we did in conjoint 2 class and for assignment number 6. Just some things to remember. Let's look at the in-class. So remember, when you do the lin-s function, you got to reverse these how they are over here, and remember to include um, just remember to include the intercept. And remember, when you put in your lin-s function, you're going to want to highlight the whole row first, then put in your equation, and remember to press Control Shift Enter because you're creating an array to get the answer, and it'll cause these those squiggly lines right here to form if you press Control Shift Enter. Once again, there's a video. It's not a very good video that does demonstrate that, but if you just use the materials from class and from assignment 6, set it up exactly like that, you should be fine. Just go really slow on that. Double check your work. It's nothing. It's it's no more difficult than you did for assignment 6, and in class. It's on par with that, but it's not more difficult. Um, so you're also going to have to know how to, um, similar to your challenge where you're going to have to understand how to calculate what all this data means and really take different factors and play with them to say this is the rating score that they get. We also did this, I mean, we did this in class. It was more in the market share computation where you say here are the attributes of the product, and we used the sum product function to basically take the scores that they would get and add them together. Remember to include the intercept in that equation. It's actually really similar to what we did on assignment number 5. That's kind of what assignment number 5 was all about. That was like the big learning thing. Um, so you're gonna have to play with different combinations of product and say which one has the highest rating. So you're gonna want to review that, or just go really slow. Just do exactly like we did it in class on assignment number 6, and you should be just fine. These are just examples from his SPS, his lecture in class on doing just that. Once again, we just took flight A and flight B, and we just put it into our Excel document, and we're able to use the sum product function to get the rating that it would be. Um, so just make sure you have all these documents on hand. Go really slow. You can download all this stuff. A completed what we did in class on conjoint analysis. You can download that off Blackboard, so you have a clean sheet with all the formulas put in, so you can refer to that and make sure you're doing it 100% correctly. If you have to deal with this first choice method or the share preference method and you get confused, just download that Excel document from Blackboard, unless you saved it and followed along in class, and hopefully that will be a guide to you in completing any problem dealing with that.